All right, hello everybody. So I'm gonna break down Ezra Cleveland first, as he was the first pick today. So height, he 6'6", 311, 33 and 3/8 inch of arms, 9-inch hands, and this is where he really shines. 40, 493, 30 bench press. His vertical, 30 inches. 111 inches on the broad jump, 7.26 three cone, and a 4.46 20-yard shuttle. So elite athlete, but how is the player? So his pass sets, I think he's light and just easy movement skills has allowed him to kind of drop off the line of scrimmage with relative ease. But I think he's a little soft at contact and kind of become a swinging gate for inside counters, and power rushers cannot kind of lift and uproot the guy. I think he does need to find more punch power and just functional strength as a whole, just to, hold ground and anchor. His length, I think it's fine, but his functional punch range and strike zone is probably average at best, and I do think he needs to be more assertive and or just, anticipate a lot better with his throws just to keep rushers kind of off balance more consistently. Does not really show ideal function and strength in extended scenarios, and balancing, it kind of looks fine. It looks pretty good until you get a real big body on the guy. He can get pushed around a little easily. He can get bullied at the point of attack with more heavy hands, and that can cause him to kind of turn or lose leverage a little too easily. Catches hands and doesn't really have the core and lower body strength to squat and or hold the ground. His hand technique, he doesn't illustrate a lot of secure fits. He's a puncher and just kind of feels it out, but doesn't really set the hook and kind of gather control of the block with consistency. Would kind of like to see a lot more punch power developed to offset just gap penetration as a whole, just to ensure that he can secure the block, being latched in at first contact. At the point of attack, I wouldn't really call him a mauler. He's not sufficient. I think he, like I said before, he needs more core strength and lower body strength as a whole, and more hand explosion. So this doesn't really all fit well into being a good power blocker here. And he doesn't really reset at the line of scrimmage either, since his wins kind of come from mobility on the extended plays or just kind of riding defenders out of the play with momentum on his side. Just overall kind of awareness deals here. I think he's very raw in that category. He's highly promising, yes, very, very promising, but also really raw. He needs just to, be more aware to protect his inside and just needs a little bit better hand usage to capitalize on his mobility. Pretty effective with angles to the second level or climbing out of double teams, which is why you saw Minnesota take him in a high zone run system, because he's constantly going to be asked to, hey, go get that linebacker, go get that safety, go get that corner out in space. So that's one reason why they did take the guy. His athleticism is where he shines, though, which is one reason why you see all the second moving stuff. That's where he's good. He's really light in his feet. He's an easy mover, and that's all directions. That's not just forward. He's a really good athlete that way, and that can be laterally or taking depth in the pass sets as well. Foot speed helps him stay in control and mirror in space, or just stay kind of persistent more or less and press into bodies of defenders. His anchor, like I mentioned, needs to continue to develop. His frame needs to become more powerful. I'm kind of worried right now he doesn't have a real threshold of strength to be an effective pro right now. I think he has plenty of room to grow in his frame, so this might need the Brian O'Neill treatment in a way of what people thought he was going to need, where it was the core strength is really bad, get him in the weight room, maybe a year later, this is good. And that's kind of where he is right now. And then this is kind of my big problem with him out of everything, which is just his competitiveness, right? I think he really comes up short. And because if he were pressed into action, it would be almost better served as a center. But his build and upside obviously deserve a chance to be at a tackle. But I don't really see a mean streak, and it's not really there with the strength either. So you got problems. Yeah. But overall, he has all the tools to play in this heavy zone run offense, and he has a lot of tools in general. The problem I see here is I see a lot of Matt Khalil in him, and that honestly scares me just a little here. Hopefully this is just a major weight room issue and can get better with time, but that feels kind of optimistic as I rarely see any kind of real fire in him to go and finish the block. We saw that with Brian O'Neill, even though he had some of these same problems. I know people are going to compare Brian O'Neill to this guy and be like, well, it worked here. Well, there was a little bit more fire in Brian O'Neill than this guy has. So, now, the other question with this is, where does it leave Riley Reiff and his infamous $13.2 million cap hit? Well, if Cleveland is to play, I don't think he has the skill set that can go into left guard immediately. So Reiff is by far the favorite right now to be the left guard unless something drastic changes. And that could involve restructuring, but that would probably have to be on an Everson Griffin-like restructure, where what we're talking about is he gets kind of avoiding contract situation where it effectively makes 2020 Riley Reiff's last year as a Minnesota Viking. So I think that's what you would be looking at. Ideally, this kid would need a year to sit, but I don't think we have that because Elflein currently doesn't really like to pass block, and that's becoming a significant problem. So Riley Reiff in at guard, even if this Cleveland kid struggles, you do know he has the athletic talent to actually, be good, and hopefully they can get him in the weight room and things can change there, but I still have my reserved doubts. I would like to know your guys' comments down below, what you think. Like and subscribing, always helpful. And until next time, I'll bid y'all adieu.